damehoods, in which ministers take great interest, but also of CBEs, MBEs, OBEs and so on, which on the whole the civil servants sort out. This year's list will be published at 10:30 p.m, so I'm not able to tell you who is on it, but we can discuss how the list is devised, and we can review some of the speculation that has occurred about who might appear. Joining me to do that is Mark Llewellyn-Slade from Awards Intelligence. Good evening.
Evening, Michael.
How well do you think the British state manages to devise a list that rewards people at all levels for work that has benefited their country or their community?
I'd say it does pretty well on the whole, Michael. The Honours and Appointments Secretariat at the Cabinet Office make the initial assessment, as you may know, and they carry out basic fact checks. Once this stage is completed, the nominees are put forward to one of 9 specialist subcommittees for consideration. So, for example, a candidate nominated for services to medicine, say, would be passed to the Health Committee, a teacher would go to Education, and so forth. And then those recommendations are sent to the Office of the Prime Minister and then on to Buckingham Palace to be rubber stamped.
Have we any idea how many people's time is absorbed in this operation? How many officials it takes to run it?
We don't know for sure, but I think it's fair to say that if it were run as a business, it would have a lot more staff. Hence there being a 12 to 18 month wait once a nomination's put in. So I don't think that the government can justify staffing up the Honours Secretariat when we have a shortage of police and firefighters and what have you.
And do you get the impression that it's worth it? In other words, do we get something from it? Is the reward, is the stimulation, is the gratitude, all those emotions that are evoked by the list, are they worth it, do you think?
Absolutely. I'd say it's the most prestigious award in the world. Any worthy person based anywhere on the globe who meets the criteria can be nominated for an honour. So you don't have to be a British citizen or even live in the UK. So it really is open to any outstanding person. And I think one of the great things about the honours system is that it acts as a carrot quite often to motivate people to go on to even greater things. So perhaps they'll get an MBE or an OBE initially, and that'll motivate them to build on those achievements. And then they might get renominated, say 5-10 years later, to a CBE or knighthood. And also those people are held up as role models to others. And, if we were all 1, 5, 10% more effective, wouldn't the world be a better place? So I think there's a real role for the honours system here.
Now, the BE that you keep referring to stands for British Empire. Do you imagine that these honours will survive with those titles, with those names? Can we go on talking about the British Empire when it's ceased to exist?
I don't think we really need to tinker around the edges with that. At the end of the day, the honours system is part of our heritage, it's part of our history. And as I say, it is the most prestigious award in the world. It is recognised globally. And I really don't think we need to worry about that kind of thing. It's part of our history. It's in our DNA.
There are quite a lot of people who do worry about that kind of thing. I admit that I'm not particularly one of them, and who do worry quite a lot about our history. I mean, that's all being churned up at the moment. The other thing that occurred to me as I wrote the words knighthoods and damehoods was what exactly you do with someone who doesn't identify with either gender. We're not up to date in that respect either, are we?
Really good point. Hadn't really thought about that, Michael. But yeah, I guess you're right at the end of the day.
All right.
Yeah, one for Boris.
Yes, put it in his in tray. What speculation has there been that you can share with us about who might be on the list?
Oh, in terms of celebrities and those in the public eye, how about Sarah Gilbert, who heads up the Oxford Vaccine Group that developed the AstraZeneca vaccine? How about Kate Bingham, head of the Vaccine Task Force, of course? And she managed to secure for us, I think it was 350 million doses of the vaccine, much to the annoyance of the EU, I recall.
And they're tipped for damehoods, are they?
I would say so, yeah. And I also think Strictly Judge Arlene Phillips will be updated to a Dame as well. She got an OBE back in 2001 and a CBE in 2013. I think also Martin Lewis, known widely as the money-saving expert on telly and radio.
What do you think he might get?
Well, he got an OBE back in 2014, but he's done a lot around consumer employee protection, furlough, and that kind of thing throughout the pandemic. So I think he might be pushed up to a CBE. Perhaps John Simpson, the journalist, he was awarded a CBE in 1991.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
I know, it's taken him a while. But what about the fact, he's reported from about 120 countries, I believe, including 30 war zones, interviewed countless leaders. So he could be in line for a K.
Yes, because once you've got to CBE, the only place to go from there is for a knighthood.
Absolutely.
People are interested in sports. Who's in the reckoning there?
Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson. He appeared fourth on the Times newspaper giving list, of course, and led a campaign for footballers to donate more to NHS charities. Plus, he recently gave his social media accounts to an anti-bullying charity to raise awareness. So I think he's a serious campaigner, as well as being good with his feet, of course.
Yes, and it's these combinations very often that the award givers like, isn't it?
Very much so, very much so. One of the traits that we've noticed here is that quite often people do well in their working lives, in their career, and they get to a stage in life where they think to themselves, I'm doing all right for myself. How can I help others? How can I give back in some way? And then they start getting involved in community work, charity work, mentoring, whatever floats their boat, really. But they get into that mindset of helping others. And that's the great thing. And I guess that their success, whether it be in business, politics, academia, whatever, gives them the time, quite often the money and the knowledge to be able to take that step back and go, great, how can I make a difference to others now?
Kate Borsay has just walked into the studio, and I have a feeling that you're going to pop back later, aren't you, Mark Llewellyn-Slade, and talk to Kate?
I am indeed. Very much looking forward to it. 11:45, I think.
And that will give you the opportunity actually to tell us who is on the list, because the embargo lasts until, 10:30 p.m. tonight, I think.
Absolutely. Yep, can't wait.
Well, Kate, thank you very much indeed to you, Mark, and you'll be back later. Kate Borsay is here, so one of the things we're going to be talking about is the honours list.
It certainly is. We're also going to be speaking about putting women